Welcome to the ConTech Exec. I'm your host, Robert Zimmerman, and today we're going to be diving into the exciting yet challenging world of technology adoption in the construction industry. Now, while it seems like there's always an oil and water feel to this industry path, I'm here to offer some realistic scenarios to help construction companies achieve some real ROI from the current and future technologies that you will have or already do have. So there is a path, but I'm going to say it's going to take some work. And in my last podcast, we talked about old construction workflows. And if you didn't catch it, I'm just going to leave a link in the descriptions down here. But in short, there's analog ways they're hurting success margins for your company, and it's already a tight market, right? So believe me, I too like my pencil and paper. I still like to draw things out. I still like to kind of get a real kind of, I guess it's a visceral attachment to the problem, but it is slow and it is cumbersome. And if you're in modern construction, let's just say you're a medium-sized specialty contractor still using paper, time cards, or even Excel, you're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars annually in just wasted time, incorrect payroll checks, and outdated processes. It's just real. And your competitors, everybody's looking for the advantages. They're already gonna, if they have a digital system, they're going to have a competitive advantage over you, not only in cash flow, but also in historical data that they can use for their data analytics and making data-driven decisions. So if you want to figure out, if you want to estimate what your company spends in payroll, we've got a great app for that. That's part of the ALMobile.com website. I'm going to leave a link in the description below for that as well. But beyond all that, let's just get into the real ROI in construction. Okay, so let's talk about the promise of construction tech. Now, moving from technology to construction, if they were to write a letter to construction, it might sound a little bit like, "Dear construction, you're slow, you're antiquated, and you're stubborn. So in the technology can't wait any longer for our next data centers. So we're going to design some tools for you. Here you go." And of course, they've got companies like Deloitte and McKinsey, Gartner amplify the same message in every annual report. Anything they ever talk about in construction tech is, hey, the construction industry is on the cusp of a technological revolution that could dramatically improve efficiency, safety, and productivity. Now, those are all good things, right? How could you go wrong with safety, efficiency, and productivity? Some of this is hype cycle talk. And it's also driven by corporate sponsorship. But looking under the hood of the construction machine, efficiency, safety, productivity are all things that we want. And there's some good upgrades that can be had. And then they start throwing in words like AI, augmented reality, building information modeling, IoT devices, digital twins, and all these things start to sound great, like they're ready to go, but not all of these products are ready to go just yet. Now, BIM, of course, has been used for quite a while, and a lot of folks are really seeing the benefits from it. But some of these are brand new. They're not necessarily going to save you in the next year, the next 2 years. So on the financial side of the equation, you got other folks talking about this AI technology jumping into the building world. But it could end up being like the dot-com bubble, right? It could be like the 90s again. We don't know, but I know this for a fact. There is technology out there that can work for you. The idea of this talk is to figure out what you can do to make some real return on investment. So there may be current solutions. I'm sure there are, and we want to talk about what those could be. So let's move on to those. Let's talk about the challenges ahead real quick before we get into some of those ROI solutions. Now, we all know that the industry proponents are touting the promises of a digital revolution or transformation in construction, but the construction industry still faces a lot of the same problems it had before, and still has today. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the cons, some of the challenges, right? Well, one would be slow adoption rates. Many firms are just hesitant to get into new technologies just due to perceived lack of short-term gains, right? Uh, Guys want most of the bang for their buck immediately. They want to see returns immediately. Well, they don't necessarily know. There's so much out there. They don't necessarily know what's going to give them the most bang for their buck. So that's one. Then there's the skills gap, significant shortage of workers trained to use technologies, just a significant shortage of workers, period, even in their own skilled trades, is a big problem. There's high initial costs with some of these. Some of this technology has some significant upfront investment and it can be substantial. A smaller firm is definitely not going to be getting into BIM technology. There are still several architectural firms, smaller architectural firms that it's something like 33% are using now of the smaller firms are now using BIM technology. And so, and those smaller architectural firms work with a lot of these medium-sized groups. And so they're just not going to have that there. It's not ready to go. And then there's data underutilization and integration issues. You could have a ton of data, but if you don't know if it's any good or you don't know where to go get it, you're not going to be able to utilize it for any kind of analysis. And then, of course, integration issues. There's compatibility issues between systems and software. That's major headaches because you stop to think about it, the people that you have on your staff, their core competency may not be software integration. And of course, you can always check out my webinar on software integration, some of the best steps if you're looking to do that. But these are just part of the problems. These are some of the challenges that we still face today, even though we've got technology available to us. Okay, so let's get to the big three of ROI. Top three here. Number one thing you have to do. It's not the most glamorous thing that you're going to have to do, but it is number one. And that's you're going to have to focus on your data strategy. Now, even I had to look it up. What is data strategy? Okay, well, key components of data strategy would be this: data governance. Okay, that means setting rules and standards for how you're going to use data management, how you're going to ensure quality, how you're going to ensure integrity, and of course, cybersecurity. Like, how are you going to make sure that your data is secure? So that's part of it. That's one component. Another component would be data architecture and technology. Basically, what are the tools and the structures that you're going to use for storing your data and processing your data? Okay, got to make plans for this stuff. Of course, it's got to align with your business strategy, right? You're probably going to have to hire some folks. You might have to hire a data analytics team if you're going to be able to analyze this data. So they're going to help you outline the roles and responsibility for managing and analyzing your data. So it might be a consideration. Now, obviously, what you want to do is be able to scale this. So you're going to want a roadmap, right, for your data strategy. So it's going to provide a tactical plan for implementing and evolving this data initiative. So again, data strategy: one, your governance, your architecture, alignment with your business strategy, your data analytics team, folks that actually know how to do this stuff, and a roadmap. Now, I know that may sound a little bit complex, but you're going to need to set this stuff up with currently what you got going on right now. I think that's the most important thing that you're going to have to do, right? Beyond that, you're going to be moving into implementing some of these processes. Those same team members probably going to help you move into implementing that roadmap and creating that structured plan, getting things going, right? Small steps, learn big. Okay. So, but number one, you got to get your data straight, right? It's going to be the most important thing you're going to have from start to finish, because AI works on data. Any type of machine learning works on accurate data. So you don't want to feed it garbage, right? You want good information in, good information out. You don't want garbage in, garbage out. All right. Number one, good data. All right. So part two about this, number two on this list, is investing in training. All right. Now, you guys invest in safety programs and you try to improve safety. That is a great thing. That's what you want to do. You want to keep people safe. You want to keep people happy. You want to keep people on the job and working. All right. Well, investing in your technology, whether that be your software, some of your new higher tech tools, those types of things. If you got a brand new piece of equipment and you don't want it run off the cliff, obviously you invest in a lot of training, right? Operators take a lot of time. They go to do a lot of school to make sure that they're certified for that piece of equipment. So investing in your people is your most important asset. So if you want your technology to be successful, well, then you have to make your people successful and train them to do that. So you're going to be bridging that skills gap that there's most likely is going to be there. There's not a lot of people that are in the core competencies who are skilled in the trades these days at this point have a lot of technological skill, right? Some of them may, some of them may not, but you got to treat everybody equally. You got to make sure they're all trained up. And now I will say this, training in today's world, in this construction world, is just kind of the price of admission, right? You cannot expect people to come in and know your stuff immediately. They're not going to know all your tech, especially if you're adding new tech. You're going to have to train them. Now, one way you can tell if you're doing a good job training is if people stick around. If you're not doing very well at training, you're probably going to find people that are complaining a lot and people that are leaving. So you need to measure that. And we're going to get to that next. But number two, I would just say that number two of the top three is definitely training your people. Okay, so last but not least of the top three, we want to talk about monitoring your KPIs. Right? I'm not talking measuring your KPIs, right? I'm talking monitoring your KPIs, which is kind of, I think it's two different things. You're going to be gathering your data anyway, especially when you kind of implement these new tools, right? So what you want to know is from your KPIs, your key performance indicators, are you making any improvements? Now, I'm just going to give you a few here to kind of go from, but you could talk about your schedule, your performance index, like how well are you performing based upon your current progress as opposed to what you had planned? Can you see an improvement? That's a simple one. A lot of the CFOs out there, maybe they want to do a cash flow forecast. They want to do a predicted cash in and out over time. Kind of check that out. If you're a civil company, maybe it was an equipment thing and you want to, just track equipment downtime. These are just all kinds of KPIs. You can pick the ones that you want. But when I say monitor them, that means you got to take the data that you're getting, right? As we talked about that data strategy, take that data that you're getting, now start to utilize it to then be sure that what you've got going on as far as from a tech standpoint is filling the need. It's giving you the information back that you need to make better decisions. I mean, it could be a thing as of rework percentage, the cost of rework over the total project cost. It could be something like that. It's just a matter of how you do it, but then you monitor it over time and continue to do it. So those are the three big things. That's the last of the tree. Track and monitor your KPIs as you now have data coming in. Start utilizing that data to really check your progress. All right. So in closing, I'm just going to say, tech adoption, it can be rather daunting. That's for sure. And I'm sure there's plenty of opinions running around your office, whether they're good or they're bad, about how you're going to use your tech and how you're going to move forward. These three, your data strategy, training your people, monitoring for success, those are my best three. All right. It's not only going to get the most out of your current tech stack, but it's going to prepare you for a more data-driven decisions along the way. And it's going to be adding, when you start adding to your tech stack, it's going to help you add later on. So as I said in the beginning, there's a lot of talk out there. The hype cycle is in kind of full swing on generative AI. But again, it's not going to be here tomorrow for you to solve for most of you. It's going to be something that's going to come gradually, but you need to be prepared for it because, even the AI industry right now is having some real problems with trying to figure out how they're going to get enough power to power all these gigantic data centers. Not to mention that, how are they going to get enough water to cool in all these different systems? So it's a real problem, and they're still struggling with those types of things. So in the meantime, I would recommend focus on getting your data ready, getting your data strategy put together, and doing that. Also, start training your people on your tech that you currently have. If you need something, if you need some tech, make sure they're trained up on it, ready to use it. There is some good products out there. If you want some help or you need some more information about how I can be of assistance, how Austin Lane or ALMobile can be of assistance, please let me know. My contact information will be on this next page, and it'll also be in the description below. But until next time, I want to say thank you for visiting the ConTech Exec. I hope you enjoyed what you've seen, and we feel free to leave any comments below. But I'm going to be back next week on the ConTech Exec. We're going to talk about making user tech, making it a bit more user friendly. So thanks again for joining us. I hope you all have a great week.
Feeling lonely, maybe crazy. Someone's got one over